There's a misguided boater. People don't realize that when they flush with earmuffs, impellers oftentimes get chewed, low water volume, and the money they burn in gas. Me, I choose Super Flush. Each Super Flush system dramatically increases water pressure from that of a hose to that of like a pressure washer. So unlike him, I get a top to bottom back flush that blasts away all internal corrosion, at least doubling my engine's life. Super Flush, order now.
Welcome back. You're tuned into ShipShape TV, America's favorite boat improvement show.
What you're looking at are 3 Mercury Verado 300 horsepower engines on the back of a 36-foot glass stream boat. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be installing a super efficient, super powerful back flushing system onto this boat so that we don't have to any longer run it on earmuffs. We're going to be able to press a button and it's going to cycle through with fresh water and effectively rinse each one of these engines. And I want to introduce you to our expert installer. This is Ken Rollman. And Ken, thank you for bringing all of this gear. Doug Brogdon from Super Flush was telling us for a triple engine boat that they make something called the ACS3. Could you show us the master control unit here?
Absolutely, John. This is the ACS3 right here. That's the master control system, and this is for your triple engine outboard application.
I see that we have some tools. Let's take everybody through the installation. Where do we begin?
Well, the first thing you want to do is find a convenient spot to put your water connection point. Now, this is where you're going to take your garden hose and plug it in when you come in when you're done boating.
Okay, so we have to drill a hole through the boat. This flush mounts. What size hole saw would we use?
1 3/8 is appropriate.
Okay. So we do flush mount that, and do we have to kind of find a spot for the master control here?
Yeah, you want to find a good spot for the ACS3. Anywhere in the, you can find a spot in the, maybe a compartment in the cockpit or inside of the center console, even inside the bilge will be fine.
Do we need to run hose from the connector where a garden hose is coming in to the manifold on the ACS3?
Yes, we're going to run the hose that's provided in the kit from the water connection point to the water connection point on the ACS3.
How do we hold the hose on? Is that with tie straps or do we use stainless steel hose clamps?
You're going to use stainless steel hose clamps, and those are all provided in the kits that come with.
Now I noticed that we have 3 of these Super Flush boxes right here. Is that because we have 3 outboard engines?
Yes.
Do we need 12-volt power?
Yes, you need to have access to 12-volt power. You're going to be just making a simple 12-volt connection to the ACS panel, and you're going to be splitting in the line the switch that's provided. This is the switch when you come in. You plug your garden hose up to your water connection. You push this here, takes care of the rest.
Okay, let's talk about what we have to do underneath the cowling. We've got to get rid of the cowling temporarily so that we can kind of get into some hoses on that motor. And I know that we have to cut some hoses and we have to put in some T-fittings. Is that a big deal? Do we need to kind of be worried about that?
Not at all, John. It's actually very simple to do. You get a pair of hose cutters like this one. You can find these at any local hardware store. And we provide you with the T's that are in the kit. And once you take the T out, you're able to see the 2 cutting lines right on the T. You match it up to the hose.
So that's how much hose we remove?
That's right.
Okay, and then we slide the hoses over the barb fittings, and then do we need to double clamp this?
In some applications you will double clamp it, and again all those clamps are provided in the kit.
Now there's a smaller diameter hose in the kit that will come from this end of the T-fitting, and that's what goes to the manifold. Okay, now on an outboard manifold they have 2 ports. Okay, I want to talk about an installation. A lot of guys might have stern drives.
Yes.
Okay, but the manifold doesn't have 2 ports, it has more ports on it. Could you show everybody one of those and tell us how an inboard outboard installation is a little bit different from just the outboard?
Absolutely, John. This is the SF400. This is the manifold for either an inboard or an IO system. And it's going to work just like the 200, however it does have the 2 extra ports. The 2 extra ports are, one line is going to go to each exhaust manifold, and then there's going to be 1 line for each block drain fill.
Okay, and this is going to get the fresh water around the thermostat housings, around our water pumps. It's going to really fill up the chamber 100% with pulsating water from the top down, and it is going to flush your engines. Now I'm sure people at home are going to have questions. Do you have an online resource?
Absolutely, John. You go to our website, superflushsystems.com.
If you have any questions, find us and like us on Facebook. Do you see these cast iron parts? They're like $400 each side of the motor. And when you boat in salt water, they rot out on you every couple of years and need replacement. Ouch. Totally unnecessary. Here's how I save thousands on my cast iron engine parts for my IOs. I use the SuperFlush flushing system. This device back flushes risers, manifolds, water jackets on engines like no other. So order yours by going to superflushsystems.com.
Welcome back aboard. Fishing for boat improvement? Well, you caught it right here at ShipShape TV.
We've spent the last couple of days installing 5 different super flushes to 3 kind of different boat and engine configurations. Welcome back. We again have Doug Brogdon, the inventor and the founder of Superflush, on the program. And Doug, you know, I'm really impressed with this technology. I've decided to outfit all of the ShipShape TV project boats with this. It's going to save me a lot of money in parts. And here's my question. You know, you'll oftentimes kind of hear stories of somebody comes up with some technology. Maybe they can get an automobile to travel 75 miles on a single gallon of gas, okay? And then the oil company buys up that technology and they bury it. You never hear from it again. Why in the world has not a marine engine company approached you and said, hey man, let's buy up this technology? Because after all, a lot of the profit of these companies will come from replacement parts. Salt water, brackish water, is very, very corrosive. Why hasn't that ever happened?
John, that did happen to us, and we took a look at the deal and we were interested in it, but when we realized they weren't going to produce and sell our product for public use, we just backed away from it because we're boaters ourselves, and boaters deserve a chance to save money and enjoy boating.
Kudos to you, man. That is so cool. We need to thank you. We also had Ken Roman on the program. We also had Cruz Rutherford. And who's Cruz's partner over at Glassstream?
It's A.O. Kirkland, the designer of this beautiful boat behind us.
It is absolutely stunning boat. We had that professional installer from Tampa, Superflush. Who was that?
That was Ed Dennison from Tampa Bay Superflush.
All of our friends from Loctite helped us out. Our guests who helped us with the tips from the experts. My crew worked real hard, but you know what? The most important one we need to thank here, that's right, it's been you. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the beautiful edge of the marina, the water's edge, but we've got to go. But how about this? How about until we see each other again? Can you do yourself a favor? Can you get out there and make your boat ship shape? Of course you can. I'm John Grabiscus, again, Doug Brogdon. We'll see you next time. Hey, come on over here. I want to see this.
For your behind-the-scenes look of what happened to the G-Man this week on the set, find us and friend us on Facebook.
There's a misguided boater. People don't realize that when they flush with earmuffs, impellers oftentimes get chewed, low water volume, and the money they burn in gas. Me, I choose Superflush. Each Superflush system dramatically increases water pressure from that of a hose to that of like a pressure washer. So unlike him, I get a top to bottom backflush that blasts away all internal corrosion, at least doubling my engine's life. Superflush, order now.